Notes of Truth with Julie Carrick. Here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.
Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and you're listening to another great edition of Notes of Truth with Julie Carrick, and talking about a lot this morning: weddings, celebration of the Sacred Hearts, and of course, Father's Day, which is coming up. But I also think it would be great to highlight one of our listeners, one of our younger, joyful Pilgrim warriors. Right, Julie?
We just heard that little clip at the very beginning where the music starts and that little voice. Yeah, I think it was done better yesterday. We received a wonderful email from a lovely, lovely person named Abby Panetti, and she's sharing something that her little 3-year-old Luke gave to us. So we need to hear from Luke first.
Interesting. There we go. Here we go. Love it.
Thank you so much, little Luke.
So cute.
What a great thing to know that the joy, truly the joy that the Holy Spirit just pours in. And if a 3-year-old can find that joy and share it, I think we all need to follow suit. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, and a big shout out. And yeah, we are already 13 days into the month of June, and the beauty of the Sacred Heart. And I feel that there are no coincidences at all when it comes to the beauty of living a Catholic life. Like truly, there's the beauty of each focus that we have during the months. Like in May, we had Mama Mary. June, we have the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ. And when we have that image of the Sacred Heart, and then we realize that also June is typically that month that weddings, it for many years, June was that typical wedding month. And so the hearts joining together, that, husband and wife are married, and the beauty of the sacredness of married love. And when I say married love, I want to be very clear that I'm talking about sacrament, that when God is the union, that it takes 3 to be married, husband, wife, and God, in order for it to truly be a marriage that is given to us by God. Husband and wife joined together. And so, of course, the natural fruit of married love is that when husband and wife join together in that unique bond that God has given them, 9 months later, we name that love, right? 9 months later, we name that love. And it's the most beautiful thing to realize that God, in that beautiful act of procreation between husband and wife, humanity moves forward. And, tomorrow we're going to have a very, very special episode on We Sing Our Faith. It's our live for the month of June. And my special guest tomorrow is going to be my husband, Kurt. And so many times there's a front person, when it comes to ministry or work or careers. And I have such a privilege of being that front person, if you will, in the ministry that I've been doing for nearly 30 years. But so many of the beautiful ideas have come from my husband, Kurt. And We Sing Our Faith is one of those. And so tomorrow, I have just such a privilege that my husband of 41 years will be joining me and talking about fatherhood. And when I was thinking about that for today, how do we share the powerful presence of men as fathers in our world. And again, it ties together so beautifully with the Sacred Heart, marriage, and then fatherhood. There's an order to it. There's a purpose when we see the way that God has gifted men in a particular way. And I love what Debbie and Adam were talking about as far as, if there's been an estrangement, if there's been something that has been broken in a relationship, it's worth fixing. And I think many times the relationship that people have with God is very, very dependent on the relationship that we have with our earthly fathers, our earthly parents. Just as we spoke about during Mother's Day, when there's a good relationship with your mom, it's easy to have a good relationship with our Blessed Mother. But when it's been a difficult relationship with mom, it's hard to find that real deep bond with our Blessed Mother. And I think it goes the same way when we look at that relationship that we have with God our Father. When we've had a tight relationship with our dad, when it's been a good relationship, it's easy to see that father relationship with God. But if there's been difficulties, and I, I'm very blessed in the relationship that I have with my own father. In fact, it's weird for me to call him father because he's daddy. Like, he's daddy, regardless of my age. He's always been, always will be that. And now that, it's been almost 5 years since daddy went home to the Lord. And it's, each Father's Day, I'm able to look back and thank God for the gift of my dad. He was a man that gave me the basis of my faith. He raised me in the Catholic faith, and again, tying back to the beauty of the Sacred Heart, tying back to the beauty of marriage. It's one of the things that, as I was growing up, Daddy was very pointed in showing the truth and showing the beauty of our Catholic faith in its foundational aspects of our life. And our world has become a very dark place when it comes to truly living truth. We've been a society, and in particular here in our country, where we have accepted things that are not of God, but because it has a loud voice. And I don't even say the majority. I would say the loudest voice gets the attention. And so when there are loud voices, things like, same sex attraction, same sex unions that are demanding to use the term marriage, it's not marriage. It's a distorted relationship. And many times there's been a hurt in someone's life which causes them to go down a particular path. And instead of acknowledging the hurt and acknowledging the brokenness, we instead try to make it the norm. And so the loud voice tries to make what is not the norm the norm. And when we go back to the basics, when we go back to the truth of who God is, when we go back to the truth of how God, in the perfection of his creation, created them male and female, and to give us as male and female, through the beautiful gift of the sacrament of matrimony, we are given that incredible connection with God in the act of procreation to bring into this world new life. And tomorrow in the program, we're going to expand a little bit on fatherhood and the different ways that fatherhood is lived out. There is that very natural sense, as I've been speaking about this morning, where when God is invited into the union, we are married in the beautiful sacrament of matrimony, and that natural occurrence of married love brings forth children. And then there are ways that men are called to fatherhood. I mean, I've shared over the past number of months the little person that we have living in our home. We have a foster baby, and he came to us at 8 weeks old, and he will soon be 8 months old. Like, it's amazing to me to see how fast this little guy is growing. And when I see my husband with him, and it truly was my husband's heart that was open to saying yes to parenting this child in a foster situation, but to watch him in the love that he has for this little child that is not ours, and yet a true father, someone who truly understands the beauty of fatherhood, says yes, even in those situations where it doesn't always make sense to us, and to see the beauty of this little child. And I am so grateful that my husband is the early morning person, because that's the shift he takes. And so when we see the love of God our Father lived in the lives of the men who are fathers in our lives, I am so grateful that my husband is one of those men who truly lives that gift of fatherhood, the call of fatherhood, and that wonderful, just that wonderful gift of fatherhood that he lives. And so I guess my challenge for everyone for this weekend is tomorrow you're going to be able to call in to We Sing Our Faith. And I'm going to invite you to do so because, again, the beauty of the ministry that I've been allowed to be the front person for many years, you're going to get to meet the man behind the scene tomorrow, and to ask any questions. It's kind of fun. When I wrote the first book, Unfailing Grace, and it was really a tell-all of grace in a life. My husband said he needs to write the sequel, and he's going to name it "That's What She Said." But to share the gift, to share the gift of that sacred heart of God, of Jesus Christ, who empowers us to be able to love, and then to bring forth that married love, and then to share it with the world. That's our focus today, and tomorrow we're going to expand on that, and actually some really powerful music that is going to be a part of the program tomorrow. So. Yeah, it's an exciting weekend, and for those of you who have struggled with the relationships with your dad, don't give up. Don't give up on those relationships. Pray for them as you know your dads pray for you. And there's a powerful gift of grace when we pray through all of those situations. So that's today.
Well said. Goodness gracious, the time went by so quick. For those out there, once again, we highly recommend checking out We Sing Our Faith, 9 a.m. Central. And as Julie mentioned, it's going to be live, which means it's going to be live streamed. So if you're watching online right now, make sure to tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. Kurt, Julie's husband, is going to be making his debut. So make sure to tune in and call in. And thanks so much, Julie. That does it for today's edition of Morning Joy, where truth matters. For those listening in on the Guadalupe Radio Network, hey, we're kicking off the very last day of the summer Share-a-thon, and starting with Toya Hall and Dave Palmer. And guess what, folks? We are already 79% to full funding. But for this hour only, coming up, there's a $10,000 contingent matching gift on the table. Can only unlock it, though, if we hit the goals before the hour ends. So make sure to tune in and let's take care of it. But hey, if this is us parting ways, God bless. Make it a joyful weekend. We'll see you.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.